So I have a Q&A video for you guys today as I'm waiting for some sneaker packages to get delivered to the house. Let's just go ahead and dive in. I want to get to as many questions as I can. I apologize in advance if I don't get to your question. I reached out to you guys on Instagram and Twitter as well as on YouTube and asked you guys to let me know if you have any questions, and I got quite a few replies. So here we go. John Health on YouTube asks, do you ever consider starting your own shoe clothing company? Why or why not? Yeah, it's a funny thing because in high school, that was like my main goal. It would be fun to be able to have like a t-shirt brand or something. I haven't figured out how to transition into something like that yet. I love what Seth's doing with his sock line. And just an early heads up, maybe we might be doing a collaboration in the future. So yeah, something I've been considering. I just don't know quite how to execute yet. Justin asks, how would I feel about being a guest on Full Size Run? I don't think I'm the caliber of guest that they really need for that show. To be honest, we're kind of in the same space, but obviously a little bit different as well. So like I consider what they are a little bit more of a professional aspect. I'm like a prosumer, so I'm like a pro consumer in a sense where they journal and really do their research for projects that they're working on. And I know that it's weird for people that don't know like the history with Welty and Brendan, but those guys are tried and true. Like they write a lot of articles, really popular articles that we've seen in the past, and you probably didn't even know their name was associated with them. So I think it's great that they're getting the literal FaceTime now that they didn't have back then. It would be an honor, but honestly, they don't need me for a guest. They're aiming for like celebrity types instead. Jack Scott asks, what's my favorite pair of sneakers on the sneaker wall? There's a lot of sneakers back there, but the Dornbecker 5s, definitely one of the tops in my collection. And for those that don't know about the DB5s, Dornbecker Children's Hospital, Isaac was the patient. He designed this shoe before he passed away. And unfortunately, he passed away before they released. But anyway, it's just tragic, but it's like something that you want to be reminded of, unfortunately. The tragedy part of it kind of makes you like feel human, I guess. So it's something that I definitely appreciate. And it's on the sneaker wall, but the black row is on the bottom, unfortunately. So you can't really see it on the top. Joe says, please do videos with brands like Reebok and Puma without comparing them to Nike or Jordan. That's fair. I haven't done a lot of Reebok. It's something I'm more interested in. There's some models that I've definitely been interested in. Same as Puma. I don't have business relationships with Reebok or Puma though, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. So Reebok and Puma, reach out. I definitely want to do work with you guys. I just don't have any connections over there yet. Jay asks about the Jordan 1 mids and what's the universal hate towards the Jordan 1 mids. I don't really know like the origins of it, but I think it's because Jordan played in the lows, Jordan played in the highs. He didn't play in the mids, so nobody likes the mids. So I think that's kind of where it stems from, kind of the elitist perspective of sneakers. If it's not the OG, then it's not the real thing, sort of feels. But at the end of the day, I've done a video on this already. If you haven't seen it on my channel, between the Jordan 1 highs and mids. I mean, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Like I like Air Force 1 mids, probably my favorite out of the 3 models. And it's like the most hated one too. So it is what it is. Unknown asks, how did I get into shoes? I got into shoes because I played basketball. So I played basketball when I was a kid. Grew up kind of not with a lot of money, and so I had a basketball, and I would literally just run around to different courts and play ball all through my youth, and that was my favorite thing to do. It was free to do, so obviously something that can keep me entertained, and I got to play a lot of ball and a lot of different courts and stuff. So that's kind of where it stemmed from, and obviously basketball sneakers, the Jordan era, and so on. That's kind of what got me into it back then. Marcus asked, if I could wear one brand of shoe the rest of my life, what would it be? Man, there's so many great brands out there. I'd hate to have to decide something like that. I think at heart, I'm a Nike Jordan guy. I grew up in Hillsboro. Beaverton, Oregon is where I went to high school, which is obviously where Nike headquarters is. So close to home, literally, for me. So that's part of the reason why I think I'm just going to say Nike. As a recent new dad, any tips or advice from Mark Lewis? Well, first of all, congratulations, man. Super, super game-changing when you have your first kid. Second kid is the next level of game-changing. If I could give you any advice at all, it would be enjoy the moments while they're there because they go really quick. Like Harrison's turning 6 this year, and I remember holding him in my arms. He's just a little dude. And even Maddie, too big, like I can hold her now, but it was not that little baby. The nurturing phase is now leaving us, and we're getting into the phase where they're grown little humans that can talk and have conversations and have their own thoughts and stuff. But that first 3 years of nurturing and loving, and just make sure that you're present there and enjoy it. Because it's really hard to enjoy it because you're stressed out a lot of the time. So the stress can kind of take it over. But if you make a note of that, and while you're in it, just try to enjoy it, you'll look back and go, I enjoyed those moments instead of, I wish I would have enjoyed those moments. That's my biggest thing I think I would recommend. but congratulations. Zach asked if I'm starting a podcast and says I should. I don't know if there's enough money into it for me to be able to dump the time and the resources into something like that. I love talking, and I love talking unfiltered, but I'm interested in it. I've always been interested in doing that. I just haven't done it. What's your favorite memory when you realize it was bigger than just having cool shoes on? Man, there's a lot of moments like that. I think it comes full circle when, people like recognize me in the street, or, when I'm going out to eat somewhere, or just wherever I'm at. Somebody will be like, "Hey, you're Hess." Or they'll hear my voice when they're checking me out at the register, and be like, "Hey, you're Hess. I used to watch your videos and blah 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 blah." And like, when I grew up to your content and stuff. Like, that's crazy to me, to think about. And that's kind of the moment where it's like, it's cool that it's, their shoes, they're fun, but the fact that you can connect with such a large audience over something that we're all like passionate about is pretty awesome. That part of it's something that I've always enjoyed. I consider you one of the OG sneakerheads. What do you think about the sneaker game now? Well, it's changed for sure. Like, obviously, it's not easy to get sneakers anymore. There's lots of bots out there that take product. There's lots of fakes out there that are running rampant. And if I can talk about that for a second, I feel like TikTok has taken things to the next level of bad, because you have people that are like openly promoting that they wear fake sneakers and getting it more generally accepted to the public and stuff, which to me, I think it feels like it's more of like a corporate drive. The fact that, isn't it like a Chinese company app or whatever, and then that's where all the fake sneakers come from? Maybe there's a correlation there. I don't really know, but there's no regulations, unfortunately, and so I think it's gotten a little bit out of control. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is until Nike steps in and actually tries to do something. But ultimately, how do I feel about it? Well, it's a sneaker game. Like, it's always been changing ever since my very first pair of sneakers. And back then, I would get Jordans at half price from the employee store. And it was pretty easy to do for any of the major releases that end up dropping. And now, I strike out on a GR on Sneakers app. So it is what it is, but it's part of the game. And I realize it's shifted. I don't love all the aspects of it, but I'm still here to play. Aaron asks, how has life changed since working on content full time? Aaron, I miss you. I used to work with her at my day job, which, for those that want to know, it was at WebMD. I was a business analyst for my day job, and I quit that to become a full-time content creator. And it's been really awesome to be able to have the extra time that I was using previously to work on my day job. If I had a break at some point, I would try to squeeze in a quick 20-minute video or something like that, and then go right back to working and then edit all night. It was just craziness. And so it's been so much of a relief to be in a different mindset where I'm like able to create the content at my own whim, and also try to create better quality content. And I haven't gotten there quite yet, unfortunately. It's obviously in the middle of a pandemic still, so there's lots of that stuff and lots of considerations there. But all in all, like, I've had amazing opportunities with some sponsorships that have helped fill in the gaps where, I needed it to. But it's been a lot of fun, and it's been awesome to be able to be home with my family and spend weekends with my family where I'm not working 7 days a week. I actually get a day or two off. And just not work at all. Like, I get to just spend it with the family, which is something that I fully enjoy. But I miss you, Aaron. Hopefully you're doing good at your new job as well. Tushy asks, hardest part of managing being a dad and a YouTuber? It's tough, man. It was tough when I was DJing. It was tough when I was working a full-time job and still creating content. Luckily, I can create my own sort of schedule. I do have to let my wife know that, I'm recording or something like that, so they can be quiet. So we have like a system now where I turn the lights downstairs red through my phone, because I have the Philips Hue system. So I can turn them red to let her know that I'm recording, so not to let the kids up while I'm doing that. But for the most part, I just try to not let the work stress me out as much, and just be there for my kids. So that's the managing part. The fact that I know that I have lots of important work to do, but what's more important is that I'm there and actually present for my kids. And 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hits, it's time to go to the park and play, and being there with them instead of me like, nope, I got stuff to do. I always appreciate that time and enjoy that time with them. And I know it's going to be gone soon. Eventually, they're not going to want to hang out with me. They want to go to their rooms and play games online, and I'm going to be like not as big of a part in their lives, which makes me super sad already. But yeah, man, I just gotta love it and be a part of it. Raisins of Pain asks, are you a car enthusiast? My two biggest passions are cars and kicks. I used to love cars like so much. I'd probably be like sneakerhead in the Bay if I was a bit younger and didn't have kids and stuff. Like, I've always had a thing for cars too. Ever since I was little, I would make little model kits of like a Ferrari Testarossa or Lamborghini Countach. Those are like my favorite cars from like years and years and years past. I think it would be cool to be able to get into cars again, but honestly, there's just no point. At the end of the day, I definitely don't want to put too much into a vehicle. Eventually, I'll get a Tesla Tesla, and that will be my daily runner. But obviously, pandemic last 2 years, we haven't driven hardly at all, so that would have been a huge waste of money. But yeah, I do like cars. It's just not something that I invest a lot of money in. Montequilla asks, what's a popular sneaker that I absolutely hate? I wouldn't say absolutely hate, but a popular sneaker that I just never really was like, I need that shoe was the Union Air Jordan 1s. I know people are like, what? That's the best one. I honestly thought they were overrated. I get they're kind of cool. I like the stitching, the two tones and stuff. Definitely caused a wave on the secondary market for customs and stuff. But ultimately, I was like, it's just kind of lazy. I didn't see why it was so rad. It's not something I hate so much anymore. It's just not my favorite. And it was something that I thought was just overrated. Clearly, I was wrong, though. Chaotic asks, what's the very first pair that started the collection? Well, when I was in college, I actually was DJing and stuff. And I made pretty good money DJing. And I would buy sneakers on the weekends. And the very first pair that started everything was actually the Air Jordan 1 mid-top. It was the white and blue patent leather. It was one of the very first ones that I can remember just putting on ice and just not wearing it a ton on a regular basis. Because at that point I had probably another 30 pairs of sneakers or something like that I felt like I could rotate. And that was like a special one for me, being an Air Jordan 1. Even though it was a mid, it was still a really cool one to me. And yeah, so that's the one probably that started everything from the collecting perspective. Jay Bean asks, what's up, buddy? Oregon State alumni as well. Asks, what's your favorite sneaker release of 2021 so far? And I'm going to go with this, man, the AMM Eman Meunier Air Jordan 3. I said it when these dropped, and I'll say it again for sure. Sneaker of the year for me. I just love the color blocking of this shoe. It's just such a great colorway. And the stories behind it is good as well, but colorway is great. Materials are pretty good. They're not absolutely amazing. Pretty good materials. But at the end of the day, I love the way that this thing was constructed. I think that there's definitely a wave of that vintage feel for sneakers right now too. So that's part of the reason why I feel like that's doing really well, is because of the vintage sort of look to it. But really, really like that one. Quilted liner on it. Amazing pair of sneakers. Favorite sneaker of all time. Not a popular pair of sneakers anymore, at least in this day and age, but Penny Foamposite 1. Favorite sneaker for myself. This is the one that changed the game for me. I remember I was playing ball at 24 Hour Fitness and there was a dude there that had him and I was just so jealous because he had the original colorway as well. Eventually I actually tested sneakers for Nike and I got 5 pairs of Foamposites back in the day. I've told that story a number of times. I think I had 2 pairs of blues, 2 pairs of blacks, and then 1 eggshell. Any which way, I got them for $40 and $80, kind of sort of backdoored. But yeah, man, I regret not keeping all of those. I only have 1 of the original ones left. But it was such a game-changing design and so futuristic looking. I loved how it molded to your foot, and it was a great shoe to ball in, even though it was like a tank. Super heavy, but ultimately that's what got me into sneakers, so it's still one of my favorites. And Chad asks also, what shoe got me into sneakers? It was this guy right here. Matty9 asks, favorite vacation spot with the family? It's pretty much Maui. We've been a lot of times. It's something we try to go every year, every other year. We just love it there. It's nice. Island life is just super chill. And my kids love the beach and the pools and stuff. The food is great, so definitely Maui. Bish asked, do I have a watch collection as well? I do not. I just have this one right here. That's the Rolex Submariner. It's one that I got actually for a vasectomy present to myself. I mentioned it in a video years ago, but it's hilarious and also awesome that I was able to give myself a vasectomy present, this is my only watch. And it was like the one where I'm like, one and done. I'm good with this one. It's a classic, iconic looking watch, one that I really like. And yeah, don't need another one as far as I'm concerned. But of course, if I had more expendable income, I would love to get a Tudor and a bunch of other watches, and I just don't want to do it as of right now. Yeezy 350, 380, Ultra Boost, or ZX 2K Boost for comfort. Man, I love all of those options. I would go still with the Ultra Boost. I love the feel of that one. Jill asks, what's the key to real estate success that I've had? They've always wanted to know. So for those that don't know, I actually have 3 houses. The very first house I bought in college, I had a couple roommates that lived with me, and I figured it was better to just buy and then have the rooms rented than just to rent like something. So it was easy to do. Luckily, I had a couple people who lived with me, like I said, and that was our first house with my wife and myself as well when we started out. Then once our family was starting to grow, bought a second house and kept the other house. So that's really the key for me, is like I wasn't actively looking for a real estate investment. I was using the property at the time for myself and then keeping it and then renting it out after that, just so I could keep the equity in the house and then eventually have them all paid off. And then also, get that rental income. So then the second house, same story. bought the third house and then rented out the second house. And so we have the 2 rentals and then the one that we're living in now. And then if we ever get another house after this, I might rent this house out, or eventually I might just save up and just buy a vacation home. I'm not really 100% sure. But for me, it was just the fact that I was wanting to buy something to live in. It wasn't necessarily that I wanted to be a landlord. I just didn't want my monthly rent to go to complete waste. I'd rather have it invested in something. So that's where it's been for myself. And since then, like maybe I should have changed up my strategy, but it's been working for me. I could probably expand and have like 10 properties right now and have a lot of risk involved. And I just would rather have a smaller number with less risk, and happy with what we have. Almond Milk Soda asks, are you still a high beast? If not, what's changed? You're hilarious. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm the farthest thing from a hype beast as far as I'm concerned. Half the sneakers on the wall behind me are like super not hyped. Some of them are really hyped up, and I do enjoy that aspect of sneakers as well, but I'm a consumer of sneakers, not necessarily just hype sneakers. If you guys see all of the regular New Balance videos, which I got a lot of hate on for doing a video on a pair of New Balance sneakers that was not popular. I'm like, but I'm doing a video on these because nobody's seen them. But they're like, it's pointless. I was like, but it's a really popular shoe, just not amongst sneakerheads. Anyway, it was hilarious. And yeah, I don't think I'm a hype beast, but I do like hype beast things, some of them. So I guess we're all guilty of that to some capacity. Why don't you review Asics? I would review Asics. There's a couple pairs that I'm interested in. Again, I don't have the connections over there. I need to get a connection to Asics to start getting some pairs in, because there's some of them that I'm really interested in. If I get the relationship with the companies, it makes it a lot easier to get some of the products instead of just having to buy everything. Self-funding all of the products is really, really expensive, obviously. DMV Writer asks, is there any material things you would sell your whole collection for, like a dream car or a watch, etc.? I wouldn't trade material things for more material things necessarily. Like, I have a bunch of boxes over here that I'll probably end up selling eventually. But if I did anything with that money, it would just be for savings, or it would go to pay off some of the balance of the mortgage of my house. So trying to pay off of those things has definitely been one of my goals. Fresh Lord asks, what will the next sneaker wall look like? I hope I don't have to do a next one. I like this one right here, but I do need to organize it better. Sometimes it's really difficult to do. I've tried a million different ways. It's difficult when there's quite a few pairs on that wall. It's 170 something pairs, I think. Island Boy asks, would you ever consider selling the tie-dyes, hoodies, and socks? I do. I want to do it for you guys and for myself. It'd be super fun to do. I think I need to do like a run of 10 hoodies exactly the same first, which is something I'm planning on doing just to see if I can get them to look all the same. That way I could do like a pre-order sort of thing, but I have to have the template, and I'm not there yet. Every single thing that I've done is like a one-off thing. But anyway, it's something that's fun. It's just, again, really time consuming. Fuego LA asks if I'm going to go to Complex Con this year. I'm actually not. I'm sad. I want to go. I'm going to be in Vegas actually for a different conference, unfortunately, for work. So yeah, not happening this year, but something that I plan on doing next year. Suze asks, what's going on with all these delays? Jordan Red Thunder 4s, are the shipments that bad? I'm doing this video because I'm actually waiting on a ton of different packages because shipments are so delayed for companies. And COVID's definitely something that's been holding up the supply chain across the board from creation to delivery. So yeah, unfortunately, that's why things are getting pushed back quite a bit. Dylan asks, am I going to have my own website to sell things that I don't want or need anymore? Actually, it's a good call. I have a site out there that I've been selling some stuff on for my friends' Yeezys and stuff. There's like, I'll link it in the description, but there's like 7 pairs left. I've dropped the prices on those as well for those that saw the site and didn't purchase anything. But yeah, it's something I plan on doing in the future. I just got to figure out how to set up a better site. I don't like the site that I'm using because it does charge sales tax, and I'm sure there's a reason for it, but I don't want it to do that for you guys. I'd rather have it be the price that you see. But anyway, it's something that I'm working on. Does it feel like the hype on the GR Jordans dunks are finally starting to die down? I actually just did a video on that the other day if you guys missed it. I do think that the hype is dying on GR pairs, but for obviously it's some of the most sought after stuff out there as well for the more limited stuff. What are some brands that are irrelevant and something that you still like, in this example, Fila or LRG? You know, I always liked Kid Robot. Kid Robot, I had so many hoodies and t-shirts and stuff. So I definitely like that brand a lot. I also liked Echo Unlimited back in the day, but I don't see that one making a comeback. It just went too far off to the deep end. Apex Next Door asks, what makes you smile? Thank you for asking that. Just my family, dude. Like, family definitely makes me smile. Having a kid that looks like me, it makes me infinitely happy. For anybody that's been there, they probably know that feeling, and it's definitely something awesome. Rude Dude asks, why are Ultra Boosts underrated? Obviously, they're comfortable and stylish. I think that they're underrated nowadays just because of the hype has died down. Possibly because Adidas didn't like release the products in an appropriate manner where they had like limited edition runs, which they retroed. Ultimately, like it's kind of nice to be able to just buy them when you want them, and they are super comfortable still. So it's definitely something that I have a full wall of actually on this side of the room of just Ultra Boosts and stuff. I think that the Ultra Boost could always have a comeback. It's not impossible. They just need to understand the hype side of things a little bit better and get the in crowd to like want to start repping the product again. And once they get that happening, I feel like it could just have the second wave all over again. I mean, the Nike Dunk now is having its like second wave, but you know, 3 years ago, nobody cared about the Nike Dunk. So it could happen at any time. I'm waiting for it to happen. I'm going to be there to support it when it does. How did I meet my wife? I actually met her at a nightclub. I actually DJ'd the nightclub, and she was one of the guests in the nightclub. So I knew who she was. She would always ask me to play Pour Some Sugar on Me. And I was like, mostly played hip hop stuff. And I was like, I hated playing it, but I'm like, she's pretty, so I would play it for her most of the time. Any which way, I met her up at a poker game at a friend's house, mutual friend, and then we just kind of hit it off from there. And ever since then, she's been my favorite roommate. Joe Gomez asked if I'm going to do a giveaway anytime soon. It's crazy because I do giveaways here and there, and you know, some people enter, some people don't. But I also just give things away. Like, so case in point, somebody left a comment on one of my videos and said, you know, on this Ultra Boost video, he said, hey, I'm going to be buying those for my mom for Christmas this year. It's like, it looks like a great shoe. Her favorite color is blue. I was like, dude, that's awesome. Like, what size is it? Because I was like, well, maybe she can just have the pair that I just got. And it was the wrong size. But anyway, long story short, I ended up gifting him a pair for him and his mom both. So I got him a random pair of Ultra Boosts that I picked out. Then I got his mom a blue pair of Ultra Boosts and shipped them out to him. And he just got them, I think, yesterday. So pretty cool. Just random comment, and I liked his energy, man. The fact that he was thinking of his mom, the fact that he was looking at buying something for his mom for Christmas, I was just like, let me help you out with that. So I like to do little things like that more so than just giveaways because it's just something more organic in my opinion. So sometimes leave those comments. It's always worth doing so. Top 5 sneakers I've ever customized. That's actually a great video concept. I can do that in another video because I have a couple really fun ones that I've done. Some people hate, some people like, but definitely something I could do a video on. DJ Sneakerhead from DNA Show, great channel out there if you guys haven't seen it. Also from Oregon, and I need to do a collab with you, dude. He has 6 or 9, and I'm gonna go with 10. Yeah. Mansfield asks, favorite item to purchase at Costco? I mean, obviously toilet paper, paper towels, Kleenex, diapers, wipes, every single time. So every time it's like $400 for Costco, but those are essentials. But honestly, we probably buy strawberries the most from there. So every single time, I'll say strawberries. Super Duper Kyle asks, how did you make the decision to leave your full-time job and go to YouTube full-time? Well, I actually did a video back in January, I think, of basically like rambling. I think the name of the video was Rambling. And I was alluding to being overwhelmed at that time. And at that point, that video was kind of a break point where I was like, dude, like I have to have some sort of change. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of work I'm doing right now. I don't know how I'm doing a day job, you know, parenting and YouTube creation and everything else. So that was definitely a turning point for myself. And I was trying to figure out a way to gracefully bow out from my day job. And that was really it. Like I talked to my wife about it over and over again. Like I really hate having to work. She was like, just quit. She's like, I support you. And when she said those words, I was like, okay, like I'm going to do it then. And I don't regret it at this point. It's a little bit scary because I like that security of knowing that my paycheck was coming in all the time. But now I just have to do a better job of saving. And honestly, my best advice to anybody in the same boat is create multiple bank accounts. That way you have certain bank accounts for taxes, certain bank accounts for savings, certain bank accounts for bills, and so on. And then you can really make sure that your bases are covered and start saving the extra. Once you make extras, just start saving it instead of just spending it every single month, because you want to have a giant nest egg in case something bad comes into play. So, when I have these great brand deals that I've been working with right now, I definitely try to save as much as I can. That way, when the times come that I don't have those brand deals, I can't live like I'm expecting that paycheck anymore, because eventually they might go away. So something that I've been struggling with, knowing in like January, things might slow down a little bit for myself, but I know that I'm prepared to make those things happen as need be. And if it doesn't work out, I know I have a bunch of sneakers I can probably get rid of to help me make the ends meet if I need, but hopefully we won't need to. We've been doing really good, and I'm proud of where we're at. This is the longest Q&A video ever. I apologize. There's so many questions. I have really important questions though, like this one. Which animal would you steal from the zoo and how would you do it? Probably want the pandas, dude. Pandas are dope. I'd probably lure them out with bamboo. I honestly don't know. Would I pay crazy resale prices for any hype shoes? I went the longest time and literally never paid resale for any sneaker for so many years. And originally, like, any of the sneakers that I bought for resale were like the Dornbecker line. I wanted to complete that Air Jordan Dornbecker collection. And once I completed that, you know, here and there, like $1,000 sneaker, like, I'm okay buying. If it's anything over like that $1,000 threshold, I really want to make sure that it's a shoe that I absolutely want. Like the Chunky Dunkies as an example was one that I was really excited to get. So that was one where I paid, I think, $1,500 for that one. Unfortunately, it's just one that I really wanted. So will I pay $2,000 for a shoe, $4,000 for a shoe? I mean, obviously not $4,000. $2,000 probably not either. So again, that $1,500 is probably the max. The 1,000 point, I'm like, okay, if it's something I really like, then I'll fork out the money for it. But for the most part, I'd rather buy comfortable sneakers. If I had to wear one single shoe the rest of my life, what would it be? I'd probably say Adidas Ultra Boost, to be honest, just the OG like 1.0. Calvin asked, do I consider myself an influencer, and have I ever promoted something that I don't like and just because I was paid? I kind of do consider myself like an influencer just because of the space I'm in some capacity. However, the term is kind of not my favorite. The second question, have I ever promoted something that I don't like? For me personally, like, I have to see the product in hand and like be like okay and on board with what I'm promoting before I start to say yes. So it's not a money thing necessarily for the most part, unless they're throwing tons of money at me, which I've never had a situation where they threw so much money at me that I couldn't say no. So to be honest, for me, not really. Like, if I do a promotion for something, it's because I like the product. And I have some stuff out there floating right now where people have asked me to do a promotion, and I'm waiting to get product to see if I like the product before I say yes or no. Mike asks, would I take cool gray 11s over any of the OG 11s? Negative. I would definitely go with Concords, Breads, Space Jams, probably in that order, over the cool gray 11s. They're getting a lot of hype right now. We'll see how they release this year for the holidays. It's something I'm interested in, but definitely not the top 3. That guy Brad asks, what are your thoughts on Nike's recent conversations on sneakers and the sneaker game? People are shifting to smaller brands like New Balance, etc. We all know that the sneakers app experience is really difficult. For the most part, we all get our L's on a weekly basis, but I think that Nike needs to focus on making everything fair, which it sounds like they're trying to do to some capacity, which could be good. But I also think that they need to focus on the rep game, man. Too many people are like, well, resellers are buying all the products, so I'm going to buy the fakes. That's not really a good justification, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Everybody has difference in opinion, and that's okay if you like buy replicas because it's easier to wear. It's not my cup of tea, and personally, I think that Nike's losing millions and millions of dollars because they're allowing replicas to flourish the way they are, versus if they try to create more product to satiate the demand. Either they create so much that the demand for the shoe goes down so low that nobody even wants to buy the replicas because they're a wash. Like, ultimately, I feel like that there's some rework that needs to happen, but I could probably go on for like 20 minutes talking about that stuff. Wicked Run says, you sold a lot of your shoes back then. You could buy them again when they retroed or get them at a fair resale price. With GRs being harder to buy, sneakers is trash. This is a good segue. Are you less likely to sell your shoes now? I was thinking about selling some of mine, but I feel I might regret it. Honestly, you could probably have some regrets there, but the money that you can use could go to some better things. So at the end of the day, you could have regret and just wait for it to come out the next round. And if you miss it, you miss it. Think about that part of it. There's definitely bigger problems to have out there. And so I don't let it bother me too much. How do I feel about the recent surge with New Balance? Is it here to stay? Asics, Saucony up next. I feel like, as with everything, it can eventually come to an end or hit a peak. I do think that New Balance has more things to offer, though, which is really why I enjoy working with them. Is the technology side for the products is amazing for the sneaker cushioning. So Fresh Foam X, amazing. Fuel Cell, amazing. Something that I could see transitioning a lot more into the lifestyle segment as well. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I feel like they have a lot of amazing things to offer people, and I don't see it going away this year or next. It would be cool to get Saucony back in the game as well. Food fights are out. They just need to create product again, man. Start creating the originals and some cool themes, and I'm definitely there for it if they do it. Same thing with Asics. John asked, better drink rye whiskey or straight shots of soju? Definitely rye whiskey for me, man. The soju makes my Asian glow go crazy. Rye whiskey, for some reason, I can drink without getting the Asian glow, so definitely rye whiskey. Anyways, thanks, Jem, for mentioning on Twitter to do this Q&A session. It's been fun. Lots and lots of stuff to get through, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, drop a like on the video, and hopefully we'll see you guys back here for some more videos. I have a bunch of shoes coming today, and so I'll be having a bunch of stuff ready for you guys next week. Anyways, have a good rest of the day and weekend. Hopefully we'll see you back. All right, peace, guys.